Thousands of years ago, upon the wetlands of the Aztecs, there existed a food production system that modern farms today still have to tip their hats to in admiration. They had no feed mills, no grain trucks, and absolutely no dependence on petroleum. What they had were Chinampas, artificial floating islands where crops, water, insects, and poultry merged into one. The Aztecs did not raise animals the way we do. They didn't carry bags of feed to pour into troughs every morning. Instead, they designed ecosystems so that food would find its way to the animals' mouths. Mud nourished the plants, plants attracted insects, and insects provided an endless source of protein for the poultry. And strangely enough, that ancient mindset is the golden key for the most efficient livestock today, quail. This is a poultry species with a lightning-fast growth rate, beginning to produce eggs at just 40 to 45 days old, 3 times faster than chickens. With their small size, quail consume little water and occupy minimal space, yet they generate high protein yields per square meter. Notably, quail manure is the most concentrated fertilizer, containing superior levels of nitrogen and minerals, serving as the most ideal fuel to activate and maintain microbial loops within a self-operating system. If the Aztecs could turn mud and waste into protein for an entire civilization, then you can certainly do it in your own backyard. Today's video is not just about raising quail. We are going to archaeologically recover that design thinking to build a self-feeding quail system. I will show you how to transform a small corner of your yard into a protein production site, where waste becomes fuel and where insects and plants link into a closed loop. In today's video, join me as we explore how to break the dependence on industrial feed, cutting 50% to 90% of farming costs through a completely different design philosophy. This is not the type of farming where the more you expand, the more dependent you become. This is a system that, the longer it operates, the more stable and self-sustaining it grows. Every week, I share grounded insights on organic gardening and intentional living. Hit subscribe to ensure you're getting authentic, earth-first advice you can actually trust straight to your feed. Quails are naturally ground-foraging, omnivorous birds with an exceptionally high metabolic rate. In the wild, they spend the majority of their time hunting for insects and green sprouts, sources that provide vital animal protein and live enzymes. Unlike larger poultry species, they do not have the habit of eating one large meal and resting. Instead, they maintain continuous scavenging throughout the day to fuel their non-stop egg production. Based on these behaviors, to completely replace industrial feed bags often filled with GMO corn and soy, your top priority must be the on-site production of high-quality protein reaching levels of 20–30%. First is the black soldier fly larvae. This serves as the backbone of a zero-cost protein system, perfectly replicating the insect-based diet that quails crave most. You will set up a secondary rearing trough right alongside the bird cage. Instead of discarding kitchen waste, you use it to raise these larvae. With a trough designed at a 30-degree incline leading directly to the cage floor, the larvae will instinctively crawl up and drop straight to the bird's feet once they reach maturity. This provides a fresh, live protein source that stimulates natural hunting instincts without costing you a single cent or the labor of manual feeding. Second is duckweed, an aquatic plant with an astonishing growth rate. In just small water tanks, duckweed can double its biomass overnight. This is a rich source of vitamins and plant protein that helps the birds cool down and stay hydrated, which is particularly important when they consume high amounts of animal protein from the larvae. Next, rather than feeding raw grains in the traditional manner, you should prioritize the fermentation of grains or food scraps. The fermentation process not only enhances nutrient absorption but also creates beneficial bacteria that protect the intestinal tract, allowing the quails to maximize protein uptake from significantly less food. Simultaneously, sprouting inexpensive seeds such as buckwheat, lentils, or sunflower is a technique that cannot be overlooked. It activates enzymes and transforms dry seeds into soft, nutrient-dense food that mimics young sprouts in nature, ensuring egg productivity remains at its peak. In tandem with improving quality, waste must be avoided by using specialized feeders. Because quails have a powerful instinct to scratch the ground, feeders must be designed to strictly prevent them from scattering food outward, ensuring every grain or larva is fully consumed without wasting resources. Finally, you can utilize an internal protein rotation strategy. If your farm raises other poultry, use chicken eggs, specifically cracked or surplus ones, by hard boiling and finely chopping them, shells included, as an immediate source of protein and calcium. This is an extremely effective way to leverage existing resources to maintain the bird's resistance without depending on any external commercial feed orders. To achieve a truly self-operating system, we must solve the most difficult puzzle: bird waste management. In traditional farming, manure is a burden that causes odors and diseases. However, in this system, manure is the fuel used to regenerate internal protein through redworms. The key technique involves establishing a worm farm directly beneath the bird cages. In this model, the falling bird droppings become an abundant food source for the worms, while the worms decompose the waste into high-quality vermicompost for gardens. Simultaneously, the surplus worms automatically crawl upward to serve as a specialty live protein source for the flock. To optimize the self-harvesting of protein, this installation layout must be designed as a tiered transformation system, where gravity and biological instincts perform all the labor on your behalf. At the top level, the quail cages utilize by 1 centimeter mesh floor, which is stable enough for the birds to stand on while ensuring that manure and leftover feed fall straight through without getting stuck. The cages should be suspended 20 centimeters to 30 centimeters above the worm bin to create ventilation, preventing moisture and ammonia gas from the decomposition process from harming the bird's respiratory systems. Directly below, a wooden or plastic bin with a surface area corresponding to the cage floor is positioned at an ideal height of 25 to 30 centimeters to optimize the worm's habitat. The bottom of the bin features tiny drainage holes combined with a bedding layer of coconut coir or moist straw, instantly turning the falling bird manure into a protein-rich food source for the worms. The heart of the system is the self-harvesting mechanism that creates a complete protein loop. By designing a ramp or mesh ladder leading from the edge of the worm bin up to a small trough near the bottom of the bird cage, the worms will instinctively migrate upward when their density in the bin becomes too high. However, since worms naturally prefer darkness and deep moisture, luring them to crawl up requires slight environmental adjustments. You should install a small light above the trough at night to stimulate the worms to crawl up in search of moisture and the scent of sprouting food. This is a crucial fine-tuning step that requires your careful observation of the bedding moisture to direct the worms accurately, turning them into fresh live protein for the birds the following morning without manual intervention. Finally, for the system to operate sustainably, the bottom of the worm bin should be designed with a slight incline, or a pull-out tray to easily collect the vermicompost. This black gold is periodically harvested to fertilize organic vegetable beds, which later provide green fodder and seeds back to the flock, completely closing an ecological circle where no resources are wasted. Once the ground-level protein system is established, we need to integrate green sources. To supplement fiber and vitamins, the system must incorporate a regenerative duckweed pond designed with partial barriers to protect a core zone where the duckweed can regrow rapidly. This prevents the birds from consuming all the duckweed in a single day and ensures a continuous supply of greens. Lastly, utilizing a mobile foraging garden model via quail tractors allows the birds to gain direct access to high-protein plants, such as amaranth and kale, as well as natural insects on the ground. This arrangement not only helps diversify the birds' diet, but also maximizes their ability to fertilize vegetable beds directly according to each movement cycle. However, we must remain realistic and vigilant, as you should not let the free label inadvertently harm your livestock due to nutritional deficiencies or management errors. First and foremost is the safe protein threshold, a decisive factor in farming productivity. Adult quail strictly require a protein content maintained between 17% and 20% in their diet to ensure regular egg laying. If you cut protein sources excessively to chase cost-saving goals, the inevitable consequence is that the birds will stop laying, or, worse, develop an extreme survival instinct. They will eat their own eggs to compensate for the nutritional deficit. Additionally, providing digestive grit is indispensable because when switching to diverse natural feeds such as hard seeds and raw fiber, quail need small grit to remain in their gizzard to assist in grinding food, helping the digestive system operate smoothly. Finally, you must remember the list of prohibited foods, which includes avocado, chocolate, raw beans, and citrus fruits. These are not supplementary foods but rather toxins to the quail's metabolic system, which can lead to rapid death and destroy your entire effort to build the system. Reducing feed costs by 50% to 90% is no longer just a dream figure but a fully achievable goal, provided you clearly understand the laws governing the flow of protein in nature. Once you begin to observe the magic within the loop of insects, plants, and organic waste, you will find the true path to freedom and sustainability in livestock farming. If you want to join me in designing self-sustaining farming systems like this, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for the next episodes. Please share your ideas in the comment section, and I will discuss them with you to optimize them. For now, let's start turning waste into resources right in your own garden. See you all again.